tear him up, you know, just tear him up. And they did.
Frustrated with the lack of support, Harry Leader, with his own good health as proof, took Davidson's pleas for funding straight to Ottawa in 1944, directly to Prime Minister Mackenzie King.
He never wanted any publicity from this. He simply wanted help for this man whom he felt could help humanity.
The Prime Minister refused to fund Davidson's work. The doctor died 4 years later.
He would die pretty well of a broken heart, if you know what I mean, because he had not been recognized.
His cancer treatment thought to have died with him.
But then 6 years ago, the treatment was rediscovered by a Toronto company. It hired researchers at Dalhousie University to test the theory. Could these embryonic chicken cells really be a cancer treatment? When research began, there was excitement.
Davidson's extract, in many ways, could be a cancer vaccine.
In 3 studies on mice, the compound apparently shrunk tumors.
We have to be careful about raising people's hopes falsely.
Jonathan Blay is one of the researchers looking at Dr. Davidson's extract.
Davidson's extract, in many ways, could be a cancer vaccine. There could be things in the extract that promote a response against the cancer.
But then suddenly, the research stopped. The then owners of the extract had financial problems. They stopped paying the researchers. Dalhousie was out some $60,000 and halted the experiments.
The university would be interested in continuing the work because the results were very promising.
But for nearly 5 years now, the capsules have simply laid on the shelf.
One could easily walk away from and say, the heck with it. But would we be leaving behind something that could potentially have significant impact for large numbers of people?
But if there are no takers soon, the venture will die. A darn shame, says Dr. Bain, because we still won't have the answer. Was Dr. Davidson right? But if Dr. Davidson's extract does show the power to combat cancer,
this could be not only one of the great human victories in overcoming disease, but it could also be one of the great human tragedies.
a tragedy because for the last 50 years, a possible cancer treatment and its pioneer were forgotten. Avis Favreau, CTV News, Toronto.
Wow. That's really I remember the first time I saw that, and imagine being able to see that for the first time and having made hundreds of millions of dollars in business in the past and being successful and being in a position to do something about that. It's exactly where our founders were, and they did. And that's why I'm here today. That's why you're here today. They locked up the worldwide marketing rights of this product. And I'm so thankful. Thank you, Bernard. As we continue with the creation of Laminine, the scientists have since confirmed that it is exactly on the 9th day of incubation that the fertilized egg has all of the contents necessary for elements necessary to create and develop the avian life. That's how critical it is for the timing. If you get it earlier, it's not all there. If you wait too long, it becomes a chicken. Okay? It's way too long, okay? Timing is critical. And it's at this precise moment that they take this highly potent tissue, extract it, and then add to it the phytonutrients and the marine proteins so that now it makes it complete for all the essential amino acids necessary for human life. That's the difference. The doctor recommended formula, but our source is from the miracle of life itself. Now you understand why we can say that. The 22 amino acids. What are amino acids? They're critical to life protein building blocks that our body requires on a daily basis, like food and water and air. We need that all the time. We can't breathe enough air today that we won't need any tomorrow, right? It's the same thing with the amino acids. We need them continuously on a daily basis. These amino acids all join together to create and form the proteins. How many proteins? 1, 2, or 2 million different proteins in the human body. Wow, that's a lot of different proteins, all made up of 22 amino acids. And what are these proteins? These are what make up our muscles, our tendons, our glands, our organs, our hair, our nails. And the growth and maintenance and repair of all of our cells are dependent on these amino acids, the proteins. In fact, proteins make up the greatest portion of our body weight next to water itself. We all know that water is a huge one. How many of us knew protein was the next? That's how important they are. In fact, we need amino acids for muscle building, for repair of our organs, our heart, and our liver. You think that might be important? And our pancreas? What about regulating hormones and our immune system to keep us from becoming susceptible to being sick? And our hair, our skin, and our nails are testosterone and estrogen. Our blood, enzymes, and cholesterol, all these things require the amino acids. Our weight loss and also weight gain, both. And our memory and learning skills. In fact, all of our neurotransmitters are all dependent on amino acids. Some people really get the picture when I show them this slide. Others need a picture. So we provide a picture to give you an idea of how important all these amino acids are for all the parts of our body. And then just to make it easier for you, this is a list of all of the bodily functions that do not need amino acids. This is the list. Okay? This is it. We left it blank on purpose just to drive home one more time the importance of amino acids. Now you can Google search and get a whole lot more information on amino acids. How about 35 million different links as a result? And we're not going to go over every one of them today, okay? We don't have the time, but you can certainly find out more about them by searching them. But let's now talk about the symptoms of amino acid deficiency. Deficiency. Mood swings and depression. If you're married, or if you know somebody, if you know somebody that suffers from mood swings and depression, or anxiety and nervousness, right? Or how about insomnia? Imagine trying to sleep next to someone with insomnia. It's contagious, right? Yeah. And chronic fatigue and chronic pain. These are serious ailments. Some people have pain sufficient that they don't care whether they live or die. That's pretty serious. Muscular weakness, loss of lean body tissue, inability to lose or gain weight. That could be just as much of a problem either way. And digestive disorders now, who does that make you think of? See, they're not here, but you are. They'll be glad you are if you tell them. How about impaired healing of wounds? Doesn't that make us more susceptible to infection? And dry, brittle hair, skin, nails. These are all symptoms. But I like this one, blood sugar and blood pressure. That seems to remind us of somebody. Does that remind you of somebody? If you look down this list and you see this, and you know somebody, yourself or someone else, you can let them know you were here. They'll be happy you did. Now, a few facts on amino acids. This one's very important. When adequate amounts are not supplied, disease might, maybe, could, possibly, or will result. Will is a direct quote. And whichever amino acid we're lacking in will set the bar for how our bodies use the others. If each of these different colors represented a different amino acid, and the bar represented how much quantity we had in our body compared to what we needed, you could see that this one right here is the lowest one in our body. This is where our body's operating on all cylinders. Nice and smooth. Along here, it's a little hippity-skippity-doodah, right? Yeah. This is just a visual representation. One more visual representation of how our body requires a synergy of all the amino acids working together in harmony. Imagine going to this concert, and this instrument right here is out of tune. Kind of ruins the whole song, doesn't it? See? We need all of them working synergistically together. Let's talk about amino acids and depression for a moment. Amino acids affect our serotonin levels. It's that simple. And we have a very simple indicator button. When you're running low, that's what you look like. When you're running high and adequate, that's what you look like. That's how easy it is to diagnose on that particular serotonin level. Now, what about this? The World Health Organization, in July of this year, they reported that 19.2% of the U.S. population is depressed. Wow. Some people say, K-Ross, you got that wrong. It's 19.2 aren't depressed. Yeah, that really could be the case in some of our worlds and the people we know and love and care about. But even at 19.2%, it represents that depression is the leading cause for disability worldwide, not only in adults, but the #1 disability for our children as well. That's depressing. Our children, the hope, our future, they're depressed? Yeah. And what do you do if you have a depressed child? What are your options? Most people, their option is to go to a doctor. Take the kid to the doctor, see what they can do. This is their solution. Take a look at this article. The antidepressants are the most popular prescription medication in the United States of America. Wow. Unbelievable. This article right here is a little too small, so I blew it up and put the excerpts right here. This says that Dr. Stephen Miller says he is prescribing more antidepressants than I ever thought I ever would. Even he thinks it's a little bit over the top. And what's the #1 side effect of antidepressants? Right here, sexual dysfunction. Now, I don't know about you, but if I were depressed and I went to the doctor, I got something, I'm no longer depressed, but I'm sexually dysfunctional. All I can tell you is I'd be back to depressed all over again. That's just me, okay? It may not be you, but I'd rather just be depressed. Now, law firms are encouraging women to look into a study because it gets serious, because the Finland study says that there's possibly a small risk of birth defect. Now think about it. We're risking birth defects and sexual dysfunction to take antidepressants because we're depressed. What if there was an all-natural, safe, generally recognized as safe product that you could try and it might work? What if it did? Would you want to know about it?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Well, let's take a look at a study.